Alright, so this is a completely different video than I ever do. But at the end of the day, we are called the Review Guys. And I do plan on reviewing a lot of different things on this channel at some point. But to be perfectly honest and fair, I had no intentions of reviewing this. This is just a random thing that happened recently. 110% thanks to God. I had opportunity come up. A friend of mine reached out and sent me the money to actually get this base. I'm not going to go into details just because it's personal and I don't want to give out his information because he's actually a YouTuber as well. But I don't want people blowing him up asking him for money and stuff. So you know who you are. If this video ever happens to get to you, thank you again. But I got it out the box. I fell in love with it. Like I was expecting decent instrument, but I wasn't expecting this. And long story short, it was so nice. Now I'm having to make a video. Plus, realistically, I haven't seen all that many videos on this brand, specifically basses. So I figured, why not add to the list of 3 people that's done a review of these? Just kind of do like an updated version for anybody that might actually want one of these. Because at this particular moment in the world, this being 2023, there's a handful of companies out there that make good quality instruments for hardly any money, but at this very second, this is the best I've ever played for the amount of money that was spent on this bass. I've played a lot of them. So I'm going to stop beating around the bush just so we can kind of get into it. But it is, I don't know if you can see it, an Xaviere. I've never actually heard the correct way to say this name. I've heard it pronounced Xaviere and I've heard it pronounced Xaviere. But it's the in-house brand for guitarfetish.com. I don't know exactly how they say the name, but it's either Xaviere or Xaviere. I've always called it Xaviere. But, little story into why I got this bass and how. Well, not really how as much as why. Like I said, some things happened. A friend of mine reached out, allowed me to get this bass, but what made me choose this particular bass was, one, the price. Out the door, okay? Out the door. $230 shipped. I ordered this bass Saturday. It is now Wednesday. Keep in mind when you order from GFS or Guitar Fetish, they tell you to allow 3 to 10 days for them to ship it. Just due to whatever you might have ordered, whether they had to make it or get it from somewhere else. I don't know. They just tell you. I ordered it on Saturday. Even counting the weekend, it still got here Wednesday. That's pretty dang fast. It came through UPS. No damage, no issues. I will say it was very lightly packaged. It wasn't packaged all that well, but it made it, so I'm not going to complain. It was in a really crappy thin cardboard cutout thing like you usually get a guitar in. No real padding. They just kind of threw a big sheet of bubble wrap inside a bigger box and then threw this in there. So realistically, it could have got damaged, but I found none. So keep that in mind. But I'm also sure that if it comes damaged, they'll fix it because they send you a return notice and all kinds of other stuff. Anyway, the reason I picked this one was not only due to the price, but what you get for the money and the color. This particular color is candy apple red. I don't know how well it looks. Forgive me. I'm in my living room. I don't really do videos in here, but I needed to be able to plug up to my little practice amp. So, kind of had no choice. I wanted Candy Apple Red though, because this is also kind of memorial bass for my dad. Kind of short story. When he was alive, he had a dream car, which was a 63 Pontiac Bonneville. And he wanted that car to be Candy Apple Red. And through things in life, he had to get rid of the car. But it was his birth year car, and it was very special to him. So when getting a new bass, I wanted to get something in his memory, and they offered it in Candy Apple Red. Not a lot of other companies do that, especially in jazz basses. Also, um, for a $200 bass, because it's basically $200. The rest was shipping and taxes, but it's like two something. Um, Also, the electronics that come stock. For those of you that don't know anything about Guitar Fetish, they have their own pickups. They're called GFS pickups. And one of the things that I absolutely love about their pickups is they have kind of the similar system to EMG, where it's solderless. So as long as your instrument is equipped with their solderless kit, you can buy any of their pickups that, well, some of them don't come with the quick plug system. You have to check it when you look, but most of them do. But as long as you get the ones that come with the quick plug system, it's just as simple as plugging in and unplugging. So what sold me was, as you may or may not know, most basses that are this price range come with crappy ceramic, bright, loud pickups. And even they'll tell you that in their description. They usually come with that. These come with their Pro, what is it? Pro, I think it's Vintage Pro jazz pickups, which are basically like $30 a piece, which is still cheap. But this one's $30 and this one's $30. And they're Alnico 5 pickups, and they're also the quick plug system. We'll say though, for those of you that are new to the quick plug system, there's two versions. There is the basic version, which is kind of just a basic wire, cheap pots, cheap wiring, but it works. It has the quick plugs. And then they offer a premium version, which is cloth wiring and better pots and all that good stuff. This particular bass for the money comes with the base model, non-premium version, but it still has the quick plugs, and then it has their Alnico pickups. So basically what I'm saying is, as soon as you buy this bass, if you hate the sound of the pickups, you can go on their page and buy any of their other quick plug pickups and swap them out with no soldering needed. And I think it's $25. You can go get their premium wire harness and throw it right in this bass and get a little bit better quality sound. I'm actually going to do that myself, but that's a different video. But yeah, that's another thing that sold me on this bass, was because, like they tell you in their description, don't compare it to a $200 bass, compare it to a $400 bass. Because any bass you're going to get for $200 generally is going to come with crappy ceramic pickups. Now, there's some exceptions. You get like Harley Benton and stuff like that, but then you're going to honestly spend more money because of where the shipping is coming from. So you're going to be at least $300 or more when you purchase whatever. And on top of that, I haven't seen anything in their lineup that's this quality for this cheap. Like, they've got some cheaper jazz basses, but they don't have the color options. And the versions that are this cheap don't have the really great pickups. And they don't offer the solderless system, which to me is huge, because I hate soldering. And I hate paying someone to solder. And if I buy a bass that's a beginner bass, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to like the pickups that come with it. So I'm going to have to change them. And then I'm going to have to pay someone to do it, or go buy a solder and do it myself. With these, I hate to tell you, but the pickups sound amazing as is. I have another jazz bass. It's a Squier Classic Vibe. They have vintage voiced Alnico pickups. This sounds just as good. Like, before I made this video, which is another reason I'm making this video, I sat down and played through a lot of my set with this bass, and it held up. A lot of cheaper end basses or guitars, like, they feel good out of the box and they sound good out of the box, But when you start kind of playing them in a mix, you kind of start noticing that after about a song or two, you're having to hit a lot harder than you were originally because some reason, somehow, the sound is starting to get drowned out, and you're like, maybe it's not as good as I thought. Not this. I think I played an entire CD worth, so 7 to 10 songs, I think. I can't remember. And from the beginning to the end, it was punchy. It sounded fantastic. It sounded so good. I was like, I've got to make a video. People have to know. Because, like I said, there's maybe 2 or 3 videos that people have made, and they're all older videos. And they're not really good enough information to be like, I'm gonna make that purchase. Because even based off of those videos, I was still shocked. There's one guy that said he had his for about 2 years in the studio, and he compared it to a Fender, but you just never know. Now, I will say, I don't think I would compare it to a Fender. I honestly would probably, now this is just me saying, this based off of pulling it out of the box today and playing it for about an hour or so. To me, just the way it feels in the hand, I'm not saying it feels cheap. It does not feel cheap. I'm just saying I don't know if I would go as far as to say Fender. But that's also with the fact that I haven't held or played a real Fender bass in 15 years, 10 years, a long time. But I will say the neck and the body and the whole bass feel solid. I honestly would compare it to the really good, well-made Squires from like the 90s and 2000s, or even the classic Vibe stuff. And I'm just referring to the feel and the quality, not the overall bass. Because for instance, the classic Vibes come with the painted urethane neck and all that. This doesn't have that, which I prefer. I don't like a urethane neck. I like a satin, almost wood filling neck. But like I said, they tell you not to compare it to a $200 bass, compare it to a $400 bass, and I will completely agree with what they say. It does not feel or play like a $200 bass. It plays like a $400 bass. Right around 400 is where I would, if you gave me this and told me to play it without knowing anything, I would say yes, this is about a $400 bass. The reason I say not only for the quality, but what you're getting, because again, you're getting actual Alnico 5 pickups. Amazing. You're getting a solderless kit, which to me makes all the difference in the world, because unless you've played guitar fetish pickups before, you just don't know. I have a Strat build that I did probably 6 months ago where I threw all GFS parts in it, and oh my God, that thing sings. It's the best Strat I've ever owned. But yeah, I can't speak highly of it, highly enough. For one of the biggest things that I noticed right out of the box is the fretboard. It's real rosewood. It's not any of that weird looking reddish orange crap that you get on a lot of guitars these days because of the whole rosewood thing that happened years ago. This is real rosewood, and it's the nice rosewood. It's not the weird, crappy plywood looking rosewood that you see on like Larry's and beginner basses and stuff. This looks like really nice, tight grain, smooth. Like if this was darker, you could almost say this is ebony, because the grain is so small and tight that it's smooth like ebony. But it is rosewood. But that's another thing that sold me. Also, the nut is upgraded. I believe it's a new bone, I think it's called. They tell you in the description, but it's not even a plastic nut. It's an upgraded nut. That's another big selling point to me. Like, seriously, you got a $200 bass. You got an upgraded nut already. Real rosewood fretboard. A nice rosewood fretboard. Upgraded. Alnico 5 pickups, a solderless wiring kit, alder body, not a cheap, crappy body, an alder body, beautiful. You can't tell in the video, but it's a beautiful candy paint job. It's got some sparkles in it. A real jazz bass neck, which is another big selling point to me because a lot of the other brands that sell, especially cheaper jazz bass type basses, for whatever reason, they skimp when it comes to the neck profile. Like Glary and even some Harley Benton stuff, I've heard people say that the necks are chunkier. This is a real jazz bass neck. Other than the headstock shape and this brand right here, it feels like a Squier or a Fender. Like, if you handed me this blindfolded, I wouldn't tell you that it's not a Fender or a Squier. It feels right. No sharp fret ends. The fret job is nice. I don't know what else to say. It's comfortable. It's a nice weight. It's weighty. It's not light like a Glary. It's not neck heavy. Like I said, it feels like a $400 or $500 bass. Realistically, I don't plan on changing anything, except maybe in the future, just because I do have an idea for a build that I wanted to do, but that was before all this happened, so I don't know yet. But at the very moment, I'm perfectly happy with how this bass feels and sounds, and I mean, everything's great. And I didn't even have to set it up out of the box. That's another shocking thing. For a $200 bass out the box, all I did was tune it. And it plays like butter. The only thing I might have to do, and I still don't even know if I'm going to do this, is I may adjust the height, because there's just a few strings here and there that kind of buzz. But I'm going to give it a few days just to see, because that could be the fact that it wasn't in tune. It could be the fact that it's got to get used to my house. There's a few different things that could have to do with that buzzing. But it's not enough for me to go, oh God, that's horrible. It sounds great. It plays great. The only thing I will tell you that's kind of a buzzkill is something I found out when I was asking about this bass from Guitar Fetish. And it's not really a huge deal. It's just something I think you should know. If you plan on upgrading these basses, the pick guard is proprietary to this bass. So, for whatever reason you decide to get one of these basses, and you're like, I don't like the white pick guard, I'm going to swap it out. They sell other pick guards, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, the pick guard that they use on these is nowhere near the same as a Squier or a Fender. So they are not going to be a direct drop-in, and it's not even going to be as simple as changing a few holes. Because I actually wanted a black pick guard myself for this bass. And I don't know if you can notice, but like a Fender and a Squier, this bottom right here of the neck is flat versus round, like a Fender or Squier should be. And that first caught my eye, and then also, I don't know why, but there's a screw right there for some reason. That's different. But I messaged them personally, and yeah, they told me that the Fender or Squier pick guards do not fit these basses. That these pick guards are actually handmade specifically for these basses. That if you do buy a Fender or a Squier replacement pick guard, you're going to have to use a Dremel and make it fit. So keep that in mind. It's not a huge deal. It's just something that I found out that I thought you may or may not want to know. The bridge is decent. It's just a cheap vintage style bridge. The tuners are surprisingly good. I was expecting them to be crap just because of the price of the bass. I have no issues. I have no plans of switching them out. The only way I might switch them out is if I change the color of the hardware eventually, which may or may not happen. But that's the only reason I would do it. Also, I heard that these come with horrible strings because it's like GFS branded $7 strings. They're not bad. Would I gig with them? Probably not. But out of the box, I feel no need to change them, which is a first for me. Usually, when you get a new bass or guitar, the strings are usually trash. Um, but yeah, this definitely beats any Glary, Harley Benton, any of those budget brands that are out these days. Um, Even like SX, this is better than any of those brands. Like, if you want a solid instrument that you could gig with, you could tour with, you're not going to feel butthurt if it gets broken or stolen. You just want, or even just a good second bass, which is basically why I got this. I needed a backup. Um, or you just need a bass to put in a studio to have a certain bass. Like, you need a jazz bass or you need a P bass because they have other basses. Um, get one, because I was honestly scared because the price doesn't reflect what I've heard. And getting one in my hands, it's too good to be true. Or it's true, but it sounds too good to be true. Just do it, because I've had Harley Bentons, I've had Glaries. Like, this quality feels like a $300 or $400 Harley Benton. Not any of their cheaper. And then, like I said, even if you get one of the cheaper ones, you're going to spend the extra money and spend at least to $300 or $400 range anyway, just because of the shipping. This is coming from Florida. I think UPS shipping was like $35, 28 to 35, but that's just because they had to ship it as a certain weight because of the size. But like $240 out the door, I think it was in total. I have to look. So, show a little bit off. It is made in China, but I don't care. Hard rock maple neck, solid as can be. Real rosewood fretboard. There's the back of the neck. Just a basic neck plate. Beautiful back color. I haven't took it to my other jazz bass to see if it's full size body, but I honestly really don't care, considering it's not Squire or Fender. So, I mean, I really highly doubt they went through the trouble of copying their body and everything, but you never know. Yeah, everything's good. The potentiometers feel good. They don't feel like, you're going to keep turning them. They feel right and tight. Yeah, nothing bad about this bass that I can say, other than I want more. I do have a P bass in mind that I've been wanting, because I just want to have a P bass in my collection just in case I ever need that sound. And now I know where I'm getting it. So I'm not like the best bass player in the world, and I can't really play any of the songs that I know because I don't want to get banned or whatever you want to call it on YouTube. But I'm just going to play a few things for you just to maybe hear the tone, because it's straight from my practice amp to my phone in my living room. So I don't know how well it's going to sound. But just to kind of give you an idea if it does come out sounding good. So we're going to go front pickup. I always play the tone wide open, but I can do on and off. So it's full volume on this pickup and tone off. Tone all the way up. Okay. Bridge pickup, tone off. Tone up. Keep in mind. I wasn't playing anything in particular. I just came up with something to whatever. So don't judge me, because yeah. Both pickups. See, there's a little bit of clicking in there, but I honestly could live with it. I play mostly rock and metal, so it's no biggie. Yeah, wasn't the best playthrough, but I don't know how well you're going to hear that anyway. Plus, I just wanted you to get an idea. Yeah, if you want a decent jazz bass, you don't care about brand, you want something that plays like a Squire or a Fender, ready to go out the box, to the point to where you could literally open this, maybe tune it, maybe set it up, and go straight to the studio or on tour or play a show that night. Get this bass. Or any of their other basses. They have P basses, they have jazz basses. They've got a weird shaped humbucker style bass, and can't remember what else. And then they offer a few different other versions. Like, if you pay attention, you'll see, like, this one has like a pale maple kind of headstock. They also have one that has like a gloss tinted headstock. If you pay attention, I noticed that they offer their P and their jazz basses and regular version, which is this, or a vintage version, which is the tinted version, which basically is tinted neck, tinted headstock, and I think more real vintage voiced pickups. I think same price, just pay attention, because if you're wanting a jazz bass with a more vintage colored neck or headstock, they have that. Same with the P's. Their jazz basses and P basses come with maple fretboards or rosewood fretboards, so they have options. And I don't think the prices go up or down based off of that. But tried to keep this short, but a lot to say. But holy crap, get you one. Just seriously, get you one, because phenomenal basses. I was absolutely shocked and blown away, and I really plan on, like, honestly, once I get the money and can, I'm going to get a few more of these and just have them. Because holy crap. On to the next video.